Testing, testing, 1, 2. Oh, hi, everybody at Diesel Plates and everybody on YouTube. Okay, this here's our mumbo jumbo build. We put it together to be a plow truck. We started on it last fall, 2016. We bought it to be a plow truck, and there was so much work that it needed, there was no go. So we've just been working on it in spare time since then, in and out, in and out, in and out of the shop. Done a lot of work to it now, and this afternoon, what are we, 2018, middle of February, and this afternoon we finally got around to filling it up with fluids and priming it up. Our prime in the post beforehand was, I don't know, we did three key cycles, spinning it and playing around with the throttle a little bit. The cold advance solenoid until we had some fuel coming into the pump itself, and the clear return line showing fuel, and give it another spin there for a total, I think, of 3, maybe 4 spin cycles. And we had some misting happening at the glow, so we put our glow plugs back in. All we had out was the driver's side. We put them back in again and hooked them up, did a glow cycle, and it fired right off. Didn't stay running, it stalled out right away, but all we did was did another glow cycle again immediately, and fired it off again, and it piston farted a little bit, not too bad, for 5-6 seconds, and stalled out again. The next time we gave it a little fuel with the pedal here. We don't have a seat in it yet, and it run good, smoothed right out, and just over 1,000 RPM or something like that, smoothed right out and run. It had a little tick, and by the time we got 3 injectors cracked and snugged up again, the tick was gone. So we let it run, I don't know, maybe 25 minutes or 30 minutes.
Yeah, 25-30 minutes, and this is the smoke that it actually did. It's an extremely clean running motor, this one.
Yeah, this has got the little Garrett. What is that Garrett, Jeff?
It's a 3261, I believe. I don't know right offhand. It's a
nice little
It's in the thread anyways.
Yeah, it's a nice little water-cooled Garrett that came off of a Hino, wasn't it?
Yes.
We found it on a 4-cylinder Hino, and Jeff figured it was really good sizing for 6.2, 6.5, and we're going to give it a whirl. It's the exhaust housing is about 1.5 centimeters, maybe 2 centimeters bigger than a GMX turbo is. Putting it in around, I think, 10.5 or 11.5.
Yeah, it's around 10.5 centimeters squared, gated housing.
Yeah.
You'll see it here in a minute.
Yeah.
It's
go ahead and show
It's
that.
mounted on a Canadian Turbo Systems manifold, which, similar to an ATS, it mounts the turbo backwards. Unfortunately, when we bought the kits, we didn't have a chance to get the hats for it. So it was all a custom built system. The hat and the return line and everything is all custom built in the downpipe. It's like my brother said, it's a water-cooled turbo. The fuel system in here is a 45-44 290 thou plunger IP rebuilt, a new rebuilt from Fred at Badger Diesel. It's a new old stock that he bought that was brand new, and he just disassembles it and checks it and verifies it, and then calibrates it on his stand, along with a set of Delphi injectors from Badger also, that I tore apart here and I modified with the open face for burning waste motor oil. And just in general, we've run it long enough now, the open face injector, that we realize that it's definitely an improvement over the original equipment style. It's a nicer spray pattern, and they stay cleaner longer. The motor is a 1994 6.2 from Canada Post that we never really verified anything in it. We just did a compression test on it and checked the oil pressure. We pre-ran it, and it came out nice. It wasn't very old when it was pulled from the Grumman. Go ahead.
I think the compression test on it, we had it. We were just looking at it in the house. We have it all listed. The compression test from the motors that we buy when they run. We compression test them. I think it averaged out this one around 380 or 390 psi. maybe 20 psi difference between them. A little high. I mean, we don't go for the 500 psi that the Ted's Motors is always saying that they're getting 490, 500. I don't know. We've compression tested maybe 20 of these motors now in our time, and these Canada Post motors are all under 40,000 miles. And we've seen maybe once or twice over 400 psi compression on them. Usually when it's 400 psi compression and we go back and we open the motor up later on, we see that it's when it's CC'd just by measuring the deck height and protrusion, it's probably around 23 or 24 to 1 compression. So it's this one, I figure it's around 23 to 1 compression in it. We never pulled the head, so we don't know exactly. But
just saying that we don't plan to overboost it. The pump is stock calibration, naturally aspirated stock calibration, and we don't plan to run it harder than that. It's going to work, but we're not looking to put tons of fuel to it. We're kind of excited to see the after seeing how clean it burns compared to our high performance 6.2. We're kind of excited to see what kind of economy we're going to get out of it. I imagine it's going to be fairly decent. We were just discussing that, and anyways, if you want to,
it was really clean too. Like Jeff said, it run in here for half an hour, and we weren't driven out.
This is the smoke that was in here.
Yeah, we stopped for a coffee in between. This turbo system over here, you see, it's everything is all custom on it. That's an air box from a gas motor. I don't know if you guys can still hear me here. That's from a gas motor. It's the same setup as a K47 is. It's just it's backwards setup. So it's the same cone filter, the same round filter as a K47. It's just it goes the other way. So we had to move the overflow for the radiator to the other side of the engine compartment. This one, many times when we're doing the trucks fully modded out like this for ourselves, we just move the batteries right out of the engine compartment. But this one here, we wanted to keep it as stock as we possibly will do.
It's also running the Canton Racing oil filter delete kit that we've been developing for ourselves. Kind of a one-off project. It's such a pain in the arse here with the factory 90-degree filter that they used on these GMT 400s when they were 4x4. It's leaking oil everywhere, that we decided to do a remote filter setup on it, and the remote is actually right under the feet now of the driver. And it's all brand new lines on it, new hydraulic lines with a brand new long hydraulic cooler on the front, and the transmission cooler also, which is not hooked up yet because we're not 100% sure if the transmission works or not. We haven't got that far with this truck yet to know. But anyways,
the fuel pressure is holding. Right now, it's holding. We put a check valve in our fuel system. This one has a Holly Red on it. It's post filter, 5 psi when the pump is going. I'll fire it up now. It's holding at 3 psi, which is a nice sign. Good.
yeah.
Okay, manual glow cycle.
There's our manual glow solenoid there on the firewall on the driver's side.
Clear.
Clear.
just a little stumble. That's just static timed in there. You haven't played with it yet, but it's just a little stumble. So it might be a little wee bit dry. I like a little more stumble than that, so it might be a little wee bit advanced, but we're not even fully warmed up yet, so we'll run it a bit before we decide to do anything more than that. All in all, it's really nice.
Yeah, it runs real nice and it's real smooth. That's our first serpentine setup that we've ever run. The only reason we're running it is because the truck that the motor came out of had a brand new water pump on it.
And so far we have all of the sensors and everything are originally from this motor. And other than the shut off again. Other than the water temperature sender unit give us a little problem at the start, but all it was just corrosion. We wiggled the connector on and off a few times and ended up with water temperature again. Still, I see here the wire for the four-wheel drive is up top yet. So have to throw it down and hook it up. But I see we still have a little. We had a little wee bit of oil here yet. I wiped it off. Oh, there it is. Little wee bit of oil left there from the brake bleeder. We had to put a new bleeder on it. The aluminum.
A new reservoir.
Yeah, a new reservoir, master cylinder, because it was leaking a little bit. And still haven't got the. The pressure splitter in there correct yet, but that'll come. We need to bleed the brakes yet anyways. That's pretty dry.
You want to... Anything else, Dad?
Not much. We'll do brakes now, and still want to.
There's no bubble left in there now. It's perfectly bled now by the looks of it.
Oh yeah, there was no bubble before. It shouldn't have any bubble at all. If the system is all true and clear after it runs for an hour, it shouldn't have any bubble at all in there.
And the whole system on this truck, right from the bottom of the fuel sender all the way to the injectors, other than the injection lines, everything is brand new.
The injection lines are all picked out and cleaned and then cold galvanized, clear coated.
It gives them a nice finish and they don't rust as fast after. We've done them cold galvanizing and we've painted them, and we've just cleaned them and greased them, but the cold galvanizing seems to be the best.
It's a nice product for that. The lines here too are all nice. That's very nice finish on them. That's a brassylation or something like that, isn't that?
No, it was a duplicolor GM factory match paint that we had from some other car that we painted that I ended up using.
Okay, and then cleared over top.
But all the fuel lines and all the brake lines on the whole truck are all Teflon coated. 'Cause we have brutal winters here. We have brutal salt and calcium on the roads, and
this is not going to be one that we're planning on parking in the winter. This will be one that we'll run in the winter as much as possible. You can see even just the humidity. That's a brand new head, and it's got white powder residue on it just from the humidity.
same with the alternator was brand new, and it's all powder on it now too.
Yeah, we've been cleaning it just by a finger, but it's
A lot of parts on this truck. We waited and waited, and we picked stuff up through Rock Auto on heavy discount on wholesaler closeout, and it's worth waiting.
yeah.
Rock Auto has been a huge resource for us over the years. I'm glad they came back to be
A site sponsor.
Site sponsor on Diesel Place. They're an important tool for us here.
Oh yeah. We have parts and parts and parts in stock that are brand new pieces. When Rock Auto is doing a wholesaler closeout, we buy. We invest in buy.
One other thing too, we never got to see yet if it's going to blow triangles out the exhaust, but that'll probably be coming here before too long. Yeah, that's another thing too. You might have heard a tiny exhaust leak. The exhaust dry pressure gauge is not hooked up yet. You can see the port there.
Yeah, the pyrometer isn't hooked up on the other side yet either. So we got two little tiny exhaust leaks, but it's a full custom setup. That manifold is one that we got. They're brand new, old stock, and
Sold
all the
a few?
crossover. Yeah, sold a few. All the crossover and downpipe and everything is all it's all Jeff made. It's another one of ours.
Yeah, and that's a 75 AR housing. It translates out to about a 10.5. It's bigger than a GMX housing is, so it should be curious to see how it runs on the highway and how it runs overall. But also, I'm curious how the water cooling is going to dampen the actual sound of the turbo.
Yeah.
I've heard lots of guys mention that it's a good insulator and it really reduces overall turbo drone and exhaust drone somewhat. So it should be interesting to see.
Yeah, for you guys that are, it's a water cooled turbo. You see the in and out, and here we're going back into our T line. Half of it's going into the heater core, and the other half, you see, it runs back, coming through here, is where it's feeding out of the motor to the turbo. Okay, so it's really it's another rear crossover. We run rear crossovers on everything. It's something when we first started building the pug motor. It's almost 10 years ago now. We were searching around, and it was just one of those things that we seen people trying, and we decided, hey, we wanted to try it too. And then we seen that Hummer guys were all calling it balanced flow, and we had already been trying it and doing it, and good as gold for us.
Still got quite a bit of body work to do on it, but we're taking it out here at the end of the day. We're hoping to drive it out, to test drive it out, sitting on a Coke box in there, just so we can bring that damn Blazer back in and get that thing out of here. It's starting to grow roots, but we think we found a problem with it.
Yeah, we found another problem with it. Anyway, such is life.
Go forth and diesel on.
Diesel on.
Peace out.